tubers, tubettes, and of course crazy people. Hey, what would happen if I was suddenly single come tomorrow? Something happened to my wife and I was no longer attached to her and I was no longer a married man and I found myself single here in the Philippines. The motivation for this video came with a meeting with my attorney when May and I, my wife, bought some property and they drew up documents to protect me on that interest just in the event of that happening. Due to our age gap, it's always been assumed that I'm going to be the first one to go. But the way life works, unfortunately, there could be something that caused her demise before mine. So I'm going to discuss that in this video. And I've brought a guest on with me to discuss his viewpoint on it in the event that should happen to him also. Okay, here comes my goofy little video. Okay, so we are going to have a discussion here about being single.
Well, that's not in my cards. I'm married.
My point being is if, God forbid, something happened to your wife and you were now alone, what would your MO be?
Wow. Here in the Philippines, alone.
You've gotten accustomed to Janet. You're in love with Janet. You know, kids in the picture.
70 years old, not a playboy type guy. I think I would stay single. I think I would still stay in a place like I stay now that I rent. I would hire in a maid because I don't like to clean, but would definitely not be one of these, quote, maids with benefits. It'd be more of somebody to do exactly that. But if Janet was gone out of my life, oh my God, that's such a tough question, Paul.
It is hard.
That's a hard question. I don't think my life would change as to where I live and how I would live.
Okay.
But I do think I would miss my companionship and my soulmate or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Because Janet solved my loneliness problem.
Sure.
You know, but depression, I'd have to start worrying about a little bit of depression. But I think I just stay where I'm living every once in a while, you know, when the urge, I would, you know, I hate to say that, pay to play. It would be something in the cards on that aspect, whenever needed. You know, even though no one knows what the future holds for you, that would be something. And it would change the dynamics of my life a lot based on income, how I spend my money, what I do. If I had my health, maybe more traveling and such, but companionship, no, I don't think I'd look for another wife.
So you came here. I mean, the whole motivation for you, you've admitted 100 times.
Yeah.
I came for the women. It's what you said. I came for the girls.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you found the girl, you fell in love, you got married, you entered into a committed relationship with her, and now by some ungodly act of God, she's taken from you. Dengue fever or a car accident or something to that effect.
The motorbike accident.
Which is something that you don't want to talk about, but it's a reality. Okay, so has your idea on romance in the Philippines changed? In other words, do you feel like you maybe you know too much? Like you've already found the unicorn and you can't replace her, or
the fantasy is gone. You know, the fantasy of going there, getting that hot young chick. You know,
right.
The reason I came for the girls was I was there, and I was dating women who were in their 50s, and they're beautiful women, nice women, but we didn't connect. And coming here to the Philippines, before I got on that plane, I said to myself, I'm going to be able to have sex with a beautiful woman again. That's my goal. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but I hadn't had a beautiful, quote, beautiful woman to have sex with in quite a while. And you never know when the last partner you have is your last partner. And I wanted to feel the excitement of a beautiful girl with me again. And that allure, now that I'm here, and I've been here for a while, isn't there anymore. The fantasy of a tropical girl in paradise, you know, in a bikini, running down the beach with a coconut shell with a drink and the umbrella and the straw. It's not there no more. You know, the fantasy's been popped by reality of just a nice, peaceful place to live.
So I guess we could bottom line it, that you would obviously go through your grieving period
Yeah.
of loss. That could take years or months or whatever the number is. Everybody's different. There's something like 7 stages of grief.
Yeah.
And finally, at the end stage is acceptance.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, it's in your rearview mirror finally. Again, those periods of times vary per individual.
Well,
And then a year, let's just say for you it's a year. So a year goes by, you're now accepting the fact that you're once again single, and you feel that you're too jaded, or you feel that you know too much, or, I mean, you wouldn't think about putting another dating app on, or this or that. If I'm hearing you right, you want to go transactional and not dive all the way in again.
I would do the dating app again, out of boredom probably in the home, just like when I sat on the couch back in the U.S. You know, I go, who's available, who's in the neighborhood, maybe Tinder or something of that nature, and meet somebody, but more of a, you know, a one-time date, you know, have dinner with somebody other than another old expat, you know. So yes, I would still search, but I don't think a live-in or a sexual relationship that's on a permanent basis, I don't think that would be there. And the pay to play is a good way to keep the emotions out of it. You know, and remember, guys, I'm 70. I don't think I need a year. I think it's like 45 days, and I hate to be cold like that, but 45 days, maybe 3 months.
And you'd be over it.
I would be not over Janet being gone, but I'd be over that, well, I have to be faithful to her. And I couldn't meet anybody else.
I understand.
You know, so, you know, the whole year, because X amount of time left. And, you know, that's the factor. But how about you, Paul? You know, you're married. Has that ever come in your mind?
Well, it came into my mind only because we bought property together. And our lawyer actually brought it up. When we were doing the paperwork to protect me, she did all the powers of attorneys and all this, that, and the other. And it came up in that discussion that, you know, the whole motivation for me buying it was to leave something for me when I'm gone, because we got 30 years between us. And the attorney said, well, what happens to you if something happens to me? I'm doing this document so that you're protected. You know, you still own the house, and you won't own the land, but you've got full rights and privileges. And that kind of put a buzz in my head. And then you do see people as you're driving down the road, unfortunately, they're splayed out on a motorbike. And May's driving a motorbike. And shit happens. I don't know how else to put it.
God's will. We can't control what happens in the future. And I think every expat or every guy that comes over here and they get involved in an age gap relationship, even if it's 5 years, our mind is always set at, we're going to go first.
Right.
We're looking at what are we leaving the girl? How are we going to take care of her?
Absolutely.
And that is such a big thing. And I have to throw a caveat into my situation. What do I do with PJ if something happened there? You know, if you take the responsibility of you know, girls' children, they live in your house, do you just throw them out? You know, are you that cold-blooded?
I don't know.
Or I think I would let him stay on, or
maybe he'd want to live with his grandmother.
Yeah, maybe he don't want no part of me, and then I would help support. Big question. No, that's a topic. That's a big question. I really don't have the answer to, but it's something for food for thought.
Yeah, I don't have that component in my life. We don't share children, either one of us. So, for me, I think the grieving period would be quite a lot longer. I think that there would be because I'm still connected to her, and we've been through so much, and we've been together so long.
How long you been together?
5 years, 6 years, going on 6 years.
6 years.
And, you know, not to brag on my wife, but she's just that little unicorn that doesn't bring to the table. She brings crap to the table. Women are women.
Yeah,
you know,
they all do.
I'm telling you that she's, you know, Miss Princess. No. But it's such minutia, you know, and it's so fixable.
All unicorn shit.
All unicorn shit is exactly right. But I think my grieving period of that feeling of loss would be at least a year. And I've become a bit jaded because I've seen so much I'm at the point now that, I mean, we have, because of the YouTube, I think, we have an opportunity to meet a lot of people.
Yes.
People reach out to us.
Yeah, there's many
and they say,
people.
let's have coffee, meet my girl, meet this. And we hear their stories over and over and over and over.
So many
again.
different stories.
And a lot of times you sit there and you think, well, this one's not going to work. And it's because sort of a sixth sense develops inside of a person, at least it did in me, on judging the girl or gauging the girl's intentions, her motivations. And so for me, I can sniff it out real quick. I can sit with a couple for 5 minutes, and I know the guy's all wide-eyed and starry, you know, like everybody is when they first meet somebody that's beautiful and younger and all that. But I can also smell a little stink on the girl for what it's worth. I can see there's little warning signs, red flags, whatnot. And there's also green flags.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I see a lot more red than green with the majority of the women. And the dynamics have changed since I first got out here. And plus, I've lived with May. I've enjoyed living with May. I feel like I've settled into a great routine. But it took work to get there. And I'm not sure that I've got enough steam in me to go through the work again of getting acclimated to one another.
The training process where you first get together, or
it's
get
not
used to each
training,
other, or
it's explaining. It's her being able to adopt or adapt to my behaviors, me being able to adopt to theirs. And there's certain things that just drive me psycho about the Filipina female. I'm shy. Drives me nuts.
Yeah,
when I hear that. Yeah, shy means I'm scared.
I'm
and I get it. But why are you
talk
scared?
about something.
You know, I feel like it's such a waste of time, you know, in life. If you run around like a scared little bunny all your life, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you're never gonna be able to grasp anything. And so, do I want to try to take somebody on, and maybe if I do find that woman that emulates me, who was really fairly innocent when I met her, she was not worldly whatsoever. She didn't have this big high body count or anything like that. She was very naive to a lot of stuff, and I had to sort of show her, you know, just the basics of life that she was never exposed to by her parents, because she grew up in the top of a mountain with nobody around but her parents, who were uneducated, and her siblings. And then she was shipped off at a young age and just sort of abandoned by her family to some degree and sent off as a workhorse, as a mule. So
I don't know.
I just think that I don't think that I would have the stamina to put up with, you know, first of all, the girl that already knows everything. Well, I already know that she's been around a time or two, and that type of woman doesn't attract me. No matter how pretty she is, or how good her English is, or how worldly she might be.
Well, there's a selfish aspect.
There.
There's a selfish aspect to all this. I know with Janet that right now I'm 70. If I live to 80 and I need someone to take care of me and Janet's there, I'm confident she'll take care of me.
Yeah.
So if you're by yourself, do you reach out to find somebody who is going to be, you know, a girlfriend in the beginning and then a caretaker later? You know, when we, or as men, we really don't think of that day when we can't tie our shoe anymore. You know, the girl that we have now is fitting everything. She's fitting the wife material, the girlfriend material, you know, the sexual relationship, the social relationship that we have with people. But we know in the back of our heads when we get older and we can't ride a motorbike or drive a car, right, that they'll be there to take care of us.
Right.
And if they go first, could put us in a bad spot.
I do know this. I do know that grieving or no grieving, I know that in the beginning, I'm not going to start doing housework. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yes, I would hire someone to be cleaning. And then I would have to start investigating other men or women
Yeah.
that could take care of you if something happened. Almost have a life alert, kind of thing, around your neck.
Have the cowbell.
I'm going to need 3 or 4 phone numbers of somebody that can come help me.
Yeah.
And start interviewing guys that could drive my car for me when I
Pick
get
you up
older.
off the ground.
Pick me up, and have a 24/7 setup for that, because right now you and I both rely on our women. That if I fall in the shower tomorrow night, she'll be there. I can just yell and she's there. Well, if I haven't got that, I'm screwed.
You're there all
So
night, all
that's
morning.
That's a complicated thing right there.
So, the replacing of your wife, maybe, because you caught me off guard with this question, but maybe it's, the love aspect. I don't think it's that fall in love with someone like I did with Janet.
Right.
And the expectations and my concern for her future. I think the next person coming into my life wouldn't have those concerns as much, because they know they're already with the real guy. And I don't think emotionally I can go through that, okay, how am I going to take care of her future, getting all her documents, because Janet didn't have a passport,
Right.
didn't have a driver's license. I
Right.
don't want to deal with all that again.
That's what I was saying. I don't know
Yeah.
if I could take the brain damage
Yeah.
of bringing them up to, up to speed
Yeah.
to get in the real world so they can hang out with me. If I want to travel, go here, go there.
Well, I'd be interested to see what everybody says. If you were with somebody and you turned 70 and you lost your wife,
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens often in the U.S., because there's a lot of widowers. But here in the Philippines, I do run into a widower now and then, but it's not really a big deal because they're normally younger. I really haven't talked to anybody in their late 70s where they lost their companion yet.
Now, I have another question. Sort of just came into my head. What do you think, since we've both lived here for so long, in the same town, with our wives, and we've made they go with us everywhere,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
anybody that knows us knows we're married. Now, they find out that we're single. What do you think is that effect? Do you think that would be, as far as meeting somebody, do you think that would be a positive or
I think
a
that is
negative?
a huge, huge positive.
Why?
Because if they know you, and they know you've taken good care of your wife, your partner, they see you're not cheating around, they always see you together. The other aspect is everybody knows you. And I'll give a quick example. I was buying bread, and the girl behind the counter was really cute, and I asked her, hey, you single? And I'm thinking of a friend of mine who is single looking. She goes, I know you, sir. I know your wife. Whoa. So they know
Yeah.
you, and it's not just because of being on YouTube or anything, but it does have an effect. But we go places. We're not hermits in the house. Every day we're going somewhere, trying different places to eat, visit, and hang out. And we're talkative. A friendly banter with the help and other people. But I think they'll see you as a catch. They'll see you as.
I think I have to agree with you, just due to the fact that the younger guys that we're friends with, that go to town, they're traveling, and they're not necessarily going to town to meet women. Of course, that'd be nice if they do, but the women there see them as unstable, and their trust factor is real low with those guys.
Yeah, I agree with
But
that.
with us, there's a huge trust factor.
Stability.
Because,
We're
like
here.
you said, we've been here. We've been with the same girl. They've never seen us or caught us because we don't do it, hit on somebody else or try anything shenanigans.
Yeah.
And so
It's
I
a
guess
small
they
town,
would.
Dumageddon.
It's a small town. So that's interesting. I just don't think that, I don't know. I would never say never. It's fun to have a companion. It's fun to have somebody to share your life with. It's fun to have somebody to do things for. I don't know. I'm actually confused. What would you guys do? If you were me, or if you were Mike, and you were in this, maybe you've been through this. Maybe you've been with the love of your life, and you lost her, or him, whoever's watching. What would your time frame be as far as the grieving period? What would be your inclination to start putting yourself back out there? Or would you just say, you know what, I'm at a certain age now. It's time for me to maybe just review and reset my my principles or my priorities, I think is the word.
Yeah.
What are my priorities right now?
Now, I know another, and I'm not going to mention names here, but I know somebody who's married, and the conversation he had with his wife had the conversation with him. He's a foreigner, she's a Filipina. Was, if I die, I want you to marry my cousin.
Really?
My cousin will take good care of you. The cousin's single. I think in their mind, if they get to a point where it's like an illness or something where they know it's coming, they might set you up with someone that they trust, you know. And
Not my wife.
not your wife, not my wife either. But it was a funny, when he told me that, I go, wow, you know, and you know, Janet wouldn't do that. But I think, just like you see many times in movies and people talk about, you know, someone at the deathbed, I want you to marry my sister, or I want you to go find a new wife or a new husband.
Right.
I think they don't want you to be alone, I don't think. I think that's the worst thing that they would want to happen to you, is to be alone for the rest of your life, especially as you get older. But I don't think Janet would fix me up.
All right, let's do this real quick, then we'll wrap it. Let's say you did die. What do you think Janet would do? Now, forget what you wanted to do.
Yeah. What would she do? I think in time, she would be online with the friends that she's already made through us, and we're talking reality here. And somebody would come and visit, and she would find somebody she likes, and she would continue with her life after a period of mourning. And I think her period would be in that 1 year period. I don't think she wants to be alone for all her life. I think she's happy being with somebody, being married. You know, she always tells me she's so happy that she's married.
Right.
And I think in time she would find, and I don't think it'd be with a Filipino. I think she would find a foreigner, and but she would be better at venting that foreigner to make sure he's okay, even though you never know for sure.
Yeah, like you and I have been, they have also been educated.
Yes.
And what to look for and what not to look for. So you're right. Janet would be much less likely to fall into any kind of bad foreigner experience, because we have our red flags.
We have our,
you know, we have our habits and our instincts, and if you watch how people treat other people in general, you can kind of make a general.
I think they would be quicker to walk away from a bad relationship developing. I think, like May and Janet, they've seen us good and our bad. And they've seen other Filipinos with guys that treat them bad. And if they saw that happening, they would walk away from the relationship. Where in the beginning, when people meet girls who haven't been in a relationship with a foreigner, they're more willing to stick with it because they don't know what is truly good and truly bad.
It's still developing.
Yes, they're learning the game.
Well, I asked May, I said, so if I die, I said, are you going to hook up with another foreigner? And she looked at me with the most serious look on her face, and she goes, I'm not putting myself through this again. We'll leave it at that.
Well, we know May's smart, you know. The question is, if May had it to do over again, would she not go on that second date?
That'll bring the comments. We'll see you crazy people in the next video. Bye.
Bye, guys. Love you all.